testing, testing, testing. That is how I start every single podcast, but I usually delete it. But I wanted to keep it for today. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to How to Like Your Life. This is a brain training podcast for mindset transformation. I'm so glad that you're here. We are in season 2. I've decided that we are in season 2 now. I'm Emilie. I'm a brain training specialist and a hypnosis practitioner here to teach you how to harness your own inner power using the magic and science of brain training and self-hypnosis to transform your life and like your life. All right, let's get into it. It has been so long, my friend. I'm getting back into the swing of things. And so naturally, the topic of today's episode is how to have a fresh start because I really need one. I had surgery back in April for endometriosis, and that kind of halted a lot of my creative endeavors, including this podcast. I haven't recorded an episode since then, and it's honestly been really challenging to figure out when is the right time to start over or have a fresh start with this project and with so many things in my life. And ultimately, the thing that I've realized is there isn't a magical time. We have to just decide that we're ready to press that reset button and just start over. So this is me starting over. This is why I'm considering the next however many episodes to be season 2. And we're going to talk about how you can start a new season of your life, how to have a fresh start, because life happens, right? We are moving through our days, we're on a roll with stuff, and then things happen that get us stuck in ruts that makes it feel really hard to change. After my surgery, recovery took a really long time, and honestly, I'm still recovering to some degree. It's way better, but I'm still having pain sometimes, and it's just really hard to pull ourselves out of these slumps and these routines that we get stuck in. But here's the thing, our brains are literally designed to get us stuck in these cycles. When we repeat behaviors over and over and over again, or when we have the same routine repeatedly, or the same thoughts, these are carving neural pathways in the brain. It's like you're going sledding down a big hill covered in snow. If you choose to go down the hill in one spot over and over again, that snow is going to get pressed down and it's going to create a path. It's going to create like a little tunnel. So eventually, when you get onto the top of that hill, your sled is going to default to going right down that path again. Our brains are the same way. We follow the path of least resistance because ultimately it conserves our energy. It takes less effort. And our brain's number one job is to keep us surviving. And survival means conserving our energy. So it's really easy to get stuck. And so if you're feeling stuck, which you might be if you're listening to this episode, I want you to know that that's okay. It's not your fault. Your brain is doing what it thinks is good for you. And it's possible to break out of these patterns. So we're going to talk about how you can have this fresh start, how to springboard yourself out of these really solidified paths so that you can start doing something new. Now, the other reason why I chose this topic today is because I've been scrolling on TikTok, as one does, and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this concept called the October theory. The October theory. It's not a scientific theory. It's not anything that's been really heavily studied, but essentially people are saying that October feels a lot like a second New Year's. Like it gives us that same energy of a fresh start or a sense that things are changing or even just motivation or an inclination to want to do something differently with your life. The month of October does that for a lot of people. And I've been trying to wrap my brain around it because I think it's really fascinating. And there's a few reasons that I've kind of discovered for why this month in particular really makes us feel ready to change. First of all, we have the end of the year creeping up. We're in the final quarter of the year. So as we're seeing Halloween decorations and Thanksgiving decorations in the stores, we're starting to think about the holidays. And it's a really glaring reminder that this year is almost over. And so that causes a lot of reflection about the things that we haven't accomplished yet. Maybe we set big goals at the beginning of this year and we're realizing, oh my gosh, I have 3 months to get my butt into gear and do the things that I said I was going to do. So that's one theory. Another is, the weather's changing. Our environment is changing. And when we are exposed to a difference in our environment, whether that is the cooler air, whether that is the changing leaves if you're in the Northeast, things are looking different around us. And our brains rely heavily on our environment to determine how we think, feel, and behave. So when our environment shifts, our brains are making new connections. It's sending new signals that maybe we should think, feel, and behave differently. And I think some of our conditioning as just humans in this society has also caused us to have this association with the fall, because this is also the season of back to school. So in our formative years, when we were children, when our brains were like little sponges for all of the information that we were receiving in life, we internalized this fall aesthetic, this weather, and this time of year with the biggest changes in our life. I mean, when you go back to school, everything changes, right? So even if you're in the same building, you have new teachers, you have new classmates, you have new clothing, you have a entirely new schedule. And so the biggest life changes happened to us at this time of year for 18 to 22 years in our life. So regardless of what's causing it, for a lot of people, there's an expectation that things are going to be different. And here's the thing. Yes, this is just another TikTok trend, but no matter whether it's complete BS or whether there actually is something to this theory, when we feel like it's time for a fresh start, that is legitimate. It doesn't matter what is prompting that inclination. What matters is that you are feeling like you're ready for a change. And I've been reading this book called How to Change by Katie Milkman, and she does fascinating research on this idea of a fresh start. And her research has revealed that when we perceive the sense of a fresh start, whether that is New Year's or October or a birthday or even just a Monday or a morning, if we are really perceiving this new opportunity for change, it actually makes it easier for our brains to change. It makes it easier for us to adopt new habits and do new things. It doesn't actually matter what the catalyst was for that perception. So I love this idea of kind of fabricating this sense of a fresh start. And that's also why I love Mondays. It feels like there's just a new opportunity to do things differently. That's why I release this podcast on Mondays specifically, so that you are ready to change your brain at the start of a new era that is this week, right? So let's talk about some tools that you can implement to get your brain ready for change, to have this fresh start be effective in whatever it is that you want to achieve with it. Number one is to lean into that sense of newness. So I want you to start doing things differently. You might wear different clothing or style things differently. You might get a haircut. I personally got my nails done for the first time in like 10 years last week, and I feel like a new person. This shiny purple nail polish has given me a sense that I am in a new era of my life. You might also get rid of some old things that represent the old you. Maybe go through your closet and get rid of some items that you really associate with habits that you don't want anymore. Maybe rearrange your furniture. And if you're getting rid of anything, please donate it or repurpose it in some way. But set the tone for this newness. You can also start to do things a little differently in your daily life to signal to your brain that something's changing. So I would highly recommend driving a new route home from work, or going on a walk in a new place each day, or even brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. So all of these things are telling your brain, hey, we are different now. Things are different now. So it's time to learn a new way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. All of these actions promote something called neuroplasticity, which is your brain's natural ability to make connections, to grow, to adapt and change. And so it's going to make it easier for your new habits to really sink in. I want you to lean into that newness. Once you've done that, it's time to really identify this new era that you are entering into. Give this new time in your life a sense of significance, because our brains process life through stories. We make sense of our life in terms of, our college years, our time in high school. In reality, our life is just continuing on, but we perceive these eras with a beginning, middle, and end. So deciding that you are in a new era And deciding to give it significance can help to step into this new identity of whoever it is you want to be. It's helpful to give this era a name. So for me, there's a lot of changes that are happening in my life this year and in the last few months. I just moved to Philly over the summer. I am in the process of working on a book, which is probably the biggest and most exciting part of my life. And so this era could be my author era or my Philly era or my CEO era, because I'm really doubling down on building my business and structuring things in a way that works for me and being able to offer more to my clients. So take some time to think about what era it is that you are entering and give it a really cool, fun name. You might buy a new journal and have the front page say something like my blank era. And you can start to use this to journal about and write about this new version of your life. And when you are considering what this time in your life represents, it can also be really helpful to set a list of intentions, not necessarily goals, not promises, but intentions for what you want more of and what you want less of. So in this era of my life, I want more community. I want to connect with more people. I want more time doing things that are creative and fun and just for the sake of playing around, like learning crafts and playing video games and leaning into my inner child. I want more opportunities to get out of my comfort zone, more moments of really putting myself out there. And on the flip side, I can think about what I want less of. So I want less time scrolling on my phone, less days where I sleep in. I want less complaining, etc., etc. So maybe in this new journal or in a notebook that you already have, take some time to write a list of more and a list of less. And this exercise can help you get some clarity on what you really value in this new, exciting part of your life. I'd like to quickly interrupt this episode to share a bit about how you can make it easier to like your life using my hypnosis app, Dawdle. What you might not know is that every single episode of this How to Like Your Life podcast is paired with a recommended guided hypnosis session on the Dawdle app to help you enhance the practices that we're talking about here so you don't have to figure it out all on your own. On the app, you'll also find tons and tons of full-length hypnosis sessions to help you in so many areas of your life, including relaxation, stress relief, focus, motivation, joy, confidence, health and healing, sleep, getting in touch with your goals, and so much more. There's also a whole library of eyes open hypnosis for you to listen to while you're doing things actively, while walking, while showering. There's also a library of mood shifters, which are practices that are under 5 minutes, designed to help you get out of a stress response fast and feel better quickly. So in this podcast, I'll teach you how to like your life, and on Dawdle, it'll become a very easy task. So make sure to try out Dawdle for free for 7 days, and you can find the download links in the show notes. Now let's get back to the episode. So you're setting your brain up for this sense of newness. You are identifying what this new energy is going to represent for you. And now it's time to bring it to life. It's time to step into this new version of yourself. There's so many ways that you can do this to really create these changes. It's kind of the majority of all of the work that I do and the things that I talk about and the things I teach in my courses. The one tool that is the most powerful thing that you can do to change your identity, change your circumstances, change your habits, is to visualize this new self, mentally rehearse it. Now, I don't talk about this too often, but I am trained in musical theater. I went to school for acting initially, and there's a really interesting approach that a lot of actors take to de-roll at the end of a performance. Now, a little brain science of acting here. When an actor embodies a character, their brain is perceiving that they are that character and that they are living those experiences that they're playing out on stage or on set. It is entirely real for their brains. So de-rolling is the act of letting go of the character's traits, of their tendencies, of their beliefs at the end of a performance, so that the insecurities and stressors and traumas and fears of the character don't kind of seep into the actor's own mental health and life. And it allows the actor to separate those identities, to keep their sanity, honestly. I actually got into this brain training work initially to give actors tools and brain training exercises so that they wouldn't take on the stressors and traumas of the roles that they play. So we're going to use this approach, this technique to de-role, to let go of your past identities and embody the version of you that you want to be in the future. There will be a guided version of this visualization exercise in my hypnosis app, Dawdle. It's way, way easier to do this stuff when it's guided, so definitely give that a try. I'll make sure to link Dawdle in the show notes. But if you want to do this on your own, you can do this in a journaling exercise or in a mental practice. So if you're going to do it as a visualization, I would recommend taking some time to close your eyes, take some deep, deep breaths, calming the body, because when we feel calm, it is so much easier for our brains to have capacity to change. And then start to visualize yourself in your current state. You might picture that version of you in front of you. You might imagine yourself looking in a mirror, or just think about what it feels like to be who you are right now in this moment. And as you embody this, take inventory of some of those things that you want less of in your life. Could be certain habits, it could be certain beliefs or tendencies or experiences. And as you take long, slow, deep breaths, imagine those things leaving your being as you exhale. Blow them out, leaving your life. Imagine these things one by one just floating away from you. And as you do this, you start to feel lighter and lighter because you are letting go of those things that are not serving you. And then once you feel cleared or a sense of lightness, you can start to introduce a change. You might even visualize yourself pressing a literal reset button. And when you do this, you start to become that new future version of you. You start to enter that era. You step into this new part of your life. And then taking long, deep breaths in, start to inhale the things that you want more of. Start to build up this new version of yourself, building up your confidence and your joy and your focus and motivation to do the things you want to do. And this is going to start to de-roll you from the old version and start to help you become and embody this new character that is your future self. And once you've become this future self, you can start to mentally rehearse your daily life as this version of you. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up in the morning feeling like that good, confident, energized, focused version. Visualize yourself going through the tasks that you want to complete, feeling the way that you want to feel, dressing the way that you want to dress, almost as though you are looking at a montage of images of your dream life or of this new amazing era. And imagine these new habits, behaviors, aesthetics of this new self. And what this is doing is it's actually teaching your brain a new way of thinking, feeling, and behaving, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So it's actually perceiving that as a real experience. And the more your brain has experiences of and becomes familiar with these new identities, these new actions, it's going to become easier to follow through on the changes that you want to make because it's familiar. Remember that path in the snow that I talked about at the beginning? The more you repeatedly visualize this new self, the more you're carving a new pathway in your brain for the opportunity to be this new and improved version of you. And in following these 3 steps of really setting up your brain for change, embracing that newness, and then giving this new era a sense of significance by identifying what it represents to you and bringing it to life in your mind, your brain has no choice but to change because the subconscious learns from experience. More than anything else, it learns from the experiences that we have. And if you start giving it new experiences, even if they're just imagined, it will start to learn from them. So start to visualize yourself feeling good, feeling happy, feeling motivated, feeling empowered. And those feelings are going to become more and more accessible to you as you continue to have these experiences. And like I said, changing your life and making changes in your brain is kind of the whole thing. It's kind of all I talk about and all I do. So there's so many more tools and strategies that you can use to embrace this fresh start and kind of set the reset button on your brain. So if you want a deeper dive after you've gone through the visualization and dawdle and worked out some of these practices, I do also have a free masterclass. It's brand new. I'm so excited to introduce it to the world. I literally finalized it today, right before I started recording this, and it is called the Subconscious Reset. So I'll walk you through my 3-step blueprint to really get out of your own way and work through the barriers that are keeping you stuck and teach you how to communicate with your subconscious mind more effectively. It's a great way to get started with this kind of brain training work. I'll guide you through a hypnosis session in that masterclass as well. Like I said, it's entirely free. It's in the show notes, so definitely check that out. And make sure to download my hypnosis app, Dawdle, if you haven't done that already. It is free to try for 7 days. And every episode in this podcast is linked with a hypnosis session on the app that is specifically designed to help you with the theme of the podcast episode. So the visualization that I just talked you through will be there in a recording ready for you in Dawdle so that you can start making these changes this week. Because you do not have to do these things alone. You are so not alone. I am here to support you. I am here to be your little hype friend in your earbuds. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review, share it on your Instagram story, tag me. I love to hear your thoughts, your aha moments, the things that stood out to you. I also have a new feature on the podcast for fan mail. At least that's what the podcast platform is calling it, but you can go into the show notes and text me and let me know your thoughts on the episode. Let me know if you have any requests for future topics. I am always taking requests and ideas, and I'm going to start doing Q&A episodes soon in this season 2, because I want to make sure I'm answering your specific questions about the things that you want to learn. So if you have any questions for that episode, you can send those along as well. And I hope that you have a wonderful, amazing rest of your week. I hope that you have so much fun with embracing this fresh start, with doing things differently, with embracing this new era, embracing the October theory, if you want to lean into that. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, friend.